Back again. Right, we're going to come onto our front, our prone position to stretch out the abdominals that we've just worked. Take the legs a little wider than hip distance, toes pointing out, heels pointing in, and bring the hands roughly in line with the face, elbows down on the floor, shoulders nice and relaxed. Widen the hands as much as you need to feel relaxed in the shoulders. Engage the abdominals, draw the abdominals in and feel the hip bones and the pubic bone down onto the mat. And imagine there's a little trickle of cold water under your tummy. You want to try to lift your tummy away from the mat so the tummy is engaged to support the lower back. Let's just do a baby cobra first. So just the upper back, we're just going to inhale the chest forwards, just using the upper back. So my ribs are still pressing down into the mat. Trying to use my upper back muscles to lift here, and then exhale down. Back of the neck stays long. Inhale, so my eyes are slightly dropped to the front edge of the mat. I'm not squishing my neck and looking forwards, keeping my neck long. And down, let's do one more like that, inhaling up. And down. We're coming into full cobra if your back likes it, if you feel happy, otherwise modify. Let's inhale up through the upper back. Exhale, press into the hands, draw the abdominals in, and come as high as feels comfortable. Turn your head to one side, do a little semicircle with your chin, all the way around and look over your shoulder, and then come back to the centre. Go the other way, turning your head, little semicircle with your chin, all the way around, and come back to the centre, and then slightly pull with your hands to lengthen the spine as you roll down. Remember, your head is the last to come down. Ribs touch, elbows touch, and the head comes down last. We'll do that one more time, taking a breath in. Exhale. Make sure it's the upper back that works first, with the ribs and the elbows staying down, and then push into your hands and stretch through the abdominals to come up. Back is supported by the abdominals. Turn your head to one side, drop the chin, little semicircle, and centre, other way, drop the chin, and centre, and lengthen through the spine. Start at the base of your spine, each vertebra taking its turn to lower down, elbows touch, ribs touch, and then the head comes down. Fold your hands underneath your forehead, keep your legs in that wide position, draw the abdominals in again, and then lengthen one leg away from you so far that it just floats a little tiny bit off the floor. You should feel your glute engage. And then with the glute engaged, you're going to circle that leg slowly for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, last 5, really lengthening the leg away from you, engaging the glute all the time. Other direction. And again, we're doing 10 again. Nice even circles, working that glute as much as you can. Last couple. And release the leg down. Just give yourself a little shimmy. Draw the abdominals in, make sure the abdominals are protecting the lower back. Lengthen the other leg away from you so far that it just floats off the ground. Make sure your glutes engaged. Don't lift too high. Here we go for our 10 circles. Lengthening the leg away from you. Really using the glute to lift that leg. Last few. And we go in the other direction. So if you're feeling this in your lower back, it's possible you're lifting the leg too high. Think length, not height for this one. And then just release that leg down. Okay, just put your hands under your shoulders, press back into a little rest position. Stretch out the back just for a second. And then shoot forwards again and lie on your side. So do a little bit of side lying. Bending the bottom knee, resting your head on your arm, and making sure that this waist is not sagging down, that the shoulder stays over the shoulder, hip stays over the hip, and we're going to straighten the top leg in line with the rest of the spine and lift it so it's hip height. Just softly point the ankle, and then we're just going to do some little circles. So if you take the leg behind you, your glute engages to open the front of the hip. Lift the leg up, circle forwards and back. So really concentrating on the backwards motion of the circle, making sure the glute gets to work. The pelvis stays nice and still with hip over hip. We're aiming for about 10, but I'd rather but Pilates will count, so accounting is not going to be perfect. Alright, let's go in the other direction with that, focusing on the squeezing of the glute to take the leg behind you without arching your back. It's the glute that's doing the work. Last couple. And this bottom waist is still active. So it feels like you're really reaching long through that leg. Okay, keep it hip height, flex the foot, and then we'll swing that leg forward, give it a kick, and then squeeze the glute, to take the leg behind you. And forwards, and back. Forwards. The rest of the body stay nice and still. Abdominals are working to help you stabilise, and the legs staying at hip height. Okay, from there, we're going to bend the knee over knee, hip over hip. Feet are in line with the back of your bottom. If you need a guide, use the back of your mat as a guide. We'll do some little oysters, squeezing the heels together. Lift the top knee up, keeping the pelvis still, and then lower the knee down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Just working into the glute to rotate the thigh bone in the hip socket. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. Bring the knee down and then lift the whole shape of that top leg up. And now we'll circle that whole shape. So circling the thigh bone in the hip socket, trying to keep the pelvis still, but getting as much movement in the hip socket as you can. We're aiming for about 5 in each direction, and then we'll go the other way. So think of that whole shape moving, really mobilising through the hip joint. And then rest the knee in front, straighten the other leg behind you. Have you still got a little space under your waist? Try to keep that. Put your brain on your inner thigh and use your inner thigh to lift the straight leg a little bit off the floor and then lower. Lift and lower. So really working the inner thigh. Lift and lower. Do a couple more like that. Keeping that bottom waist lifted will help you use the inner thigh even more. Stay at the top of this one and circle that bottom leg. Let's do 10 in each direction. Lengthening the leg long, really using that inner thigh to lift high. Last few. And then other direction. Inner thigh should be burning. And release the leg down. Let's come up and do a little stretch. Just folding the knee in front of you. Bringing the knee towards the chest. Lengthening through the spine, sitting up nice and tall. Trying to get both sit bones down on the floor. And the more you pull the knee towards your chest, the more of a stretch you should feel down the side that we just worked. And then just switch the legs over to the other side. Use the back of your mat as a guide. Feet, pelvis, and ribs in line. The back of the mat. Stack hip over hip, shoulder over shoulder, knee over knee. And then reach the top leg long, keeping a space for your top waist. Softly point the ankle, and we're circling the thigh bone in the hip socket. So we take the leg back, up, and round. Back, up, and round. We're doing about 10 in each direction. Real focus on the glute, taking that leg back. And the abdominals are holding your spine nice and stable while the legs are waving around. So we're challenging that stability of the spine. 1 more, other direction, but we're also getting some good mobility in the hip socket, trying to keep the hips nice and healthy, oiling the joints. Let's do a couple more. Okay, 1 more. Alright, hip height for the leg, flex the foot, and we swing that leg forwards, giving a little kick. Squeeze the glute to take the leg behind you. And we go again, forwards, little kick. Squeeze the glute to take the leg behind you. And again. And back. Forwards. And back. Apologies for the lack of counting. If counting is your thing, you can do it for me. Alright. And back. Okay. Stacking the knees over each other, ankles together, knees together. Squeeze the heels together with the waist to lifting the top knee but keeping the pelvis still. And then lower the knee down. The pelvis might want to roll backwards, so you're really making an effort to keep the top knee, and then hopefully you'll feel the work in the glute. Let's do a couple more. One more. And then we take the whole shape of the top leg up, and we'll circle that whole shape, thigh bone circles in the hip socket, really lifting up and over, mobilizing through the joint, using your abdominals to stabilize through the spine. Let's do one more in this direction, and then we'll go in the other direction, taking the knee back. Couple more. Alright, and then rest that top knee in front of you, straighten the other leg behind you, and remember the bottom waist is still lifted. Put your brain in your inner thigh and use the inner thigh to lift the bottom leg and lower. The knee stays straight, so keep the knee straight as you lift the leg. Should feel your inner thigh working strongly there, shoulders relaxed, everything else nice and relaxed. Let's do two more. We're going to stay at the top on the second one. Here we go, stay at the top, circle that leg. Straight leg, circling the thigh bone in the hip socket, using the inner thigh to do the lifting. Hard work on that inner thigh. Couple more this direction. Other direction, circling the thigh bone. Woo, hard work on this side. Last 3, 2, and 1. Push yourself up. Let's stretch that side. So taking the foot over your knee, trying to get both sit bones down towards the floor, and then pulling the knee towards your chest, lengthening the spine. Trying to sit up nice and tall. And then we're into our final stretch, a little bit of 4-point kneeling, and then we're done. Coming onto your hands and knees, wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hip joints, find some length in the spine. We're just going to start with a little tabletop, so we're sliding one leg away along the toes, touch the floor till the leg is straight, and then you're going to squeeze the glute to lift the leg off the floor, and then circle the thigh bone in the hip socket. So we're going to circle the leg. We'll do 3 in one direction, and then we'll do 3 in the other direction. And then your choice, if you want to, slide the opposite arm long. So we've got opposite arm, opposite leg, and we're going to balance here, and then you're going to circle arm and leg. So circle arm and leg in one direction 3 times, and then go the other way. Good little brain tease to finish with. And bring yourself back in. We'll go to the other side. Push the floor away to find strength through the shoulders. Slide the toes along the floor and then lift the leg. Elbows are soft. Abdominals pulling in. And then we'll circle that leg 3 times in one direction. Keeping the spine long. 3 times in the other direction. And then reach the opposite arm. And we circle 3 times in one direction, arm and leg both circling, a little bit of brain power required, 3 times in the other direction, and then bring yourself back in. Alright, in your 4-point kneeling position, we're just going to do some mobilization of the thoracic spine. I want you to lift your ribs up towards the ceiling behind you, then take the ribs over to one side. Drop the ribs down towards the floor in the centre. Take the ribs over to the other side. So we're going in a circle, up towards the ceiling, over to one side, towards the floor, and to the other side. The rest of your spine will react. Your pelvis will react, your shoulders will react, your arms will react. That's fine. Just find that circular movement in the thoracic spine. And then let's go in the opposite direction. Ribs go to the side, up, other side, down. Finding a bit of mobility through the upper spine. Last one. And then bring yourself back to your neutral spine, crown of the head reaching away from the tail. You're going to use your tail and draw some circles with your tail. So let's circle the tail around, allowing the rest of the time the spine to react. So you'll be doing some sort of cat-cowish movements as your tail circles. Allow the shoulders to move. Just move freely circle the arms out to the side, opening out the front of the chest, and then rounding forwards, bringing the arms forwards, inhale. Exhale to lift up and open. Inhale to round. Exhale to lift up and open the chest. Exhale to round. We'll do one more, last one. Stay nice and